Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of my submission for the Great Guitar Build-Off for 2022. My name is Mike, and I've been learning guitar building for the past couple of years, so I'm excited to bring you guys alongside me for this build. So here you're just seeing me do a little bit of the initial milling of the body blank to rough cut the shape with a bandsaw. For this build I did make a pretty unconventional body wood choice by selecting Purple Heart. There's some specific reasons for that, which I'll get into here in just a bit. After cutting the rough shape of the body on the bandsaw, I transitioned over to attaching the template of the guitar body to the blank. If you don't have a body template, there's a lot of different websites you can use to purchase one. However, I do think it's well worth the effort to invest some time into making some unique, solid templates because it just makes life a lot easier on the next build. If you'd like me to show you how I made this body template, or if you have ideas for other templates for future videos, definitely feel free to note those down in the comments and I can consider that for future videos. But after getting the template attached to the body with some masking tape and thin super glue, I started routing the body shape here with a flush trim bit. So overall this went fairly well, though I did have a couple of instances of tear out, even when going downhill with the router around the corners. But once I got one side done, I flipped it around and did the other end. One thing that is super important with this that I learned is just the importance of using sharp bits and blades. And there's no doubt that Purple Heart can definitely dull up the blades very quickly. In terms of the choice to use Purple Heart, I wanted this build to specifically use a piece of Purple Heart that my dad had given me a while back. Since my dad taught me woodworking when I was a teenager, and since he gave me all of his major woodworking tools a few years back, I thought it'd be a great chance to use the wood and also pay homage to him, so to speak. So more on that as we continue with the build. Once I was done with the exterior body shape and with cleaning up the edges of the guitar with an orbital sander, I moved on to doing some of the basic body carving. For this guitar I wanted to have a fairly subtle arm bevel, and while I'm a fan of large bevels and chamfers on guitar bodies, this specific body design is meant to be a bit more boxy and a bit less curvy in terms of its contours. Typically it's pretty standard to have the arm bevel extend about halfway through the body's thickness, the same with belly carve as you see me doing here. For this build, mine is about 1/3 of the thickness for the arm bevel. And also, as you'll see shortly, the top is going to have a walnut burl veneer, and I've found that it's definitely better and easier to have a softer bevel when using burls and other figured veneers on the top. In terms of the belly carve, I took the same approach with having that be a bit more understated as well. Also, because I'll be doing a unique one-piece pickup cover to house both of the pickups, that's actually going to require me to make a custom cavity in the back of the guitar. So as a result of that, I was mindful of not going too far down toward the center line of the guitar body. But taking the time to draw out nice carving lines definitely makes a huge difference. I found that eyeballing it typically isn't the best idea, but overall I find this particular step of the process to be one of the most enjoyable. Once I had the contours done, I moved on to working on the veneer top. As you can see, I'm cutting the rough shape of the guitar body into the veneer with a utility knife. You can use scissors for this step as well, though I find that having a good, sharp utility knife on a hard surface typically works best. I bought this book match veneer set at my local Woodcraft, and I always recommend that anytime you see a unique piece of wood that you like that you go ahead and buy it. There's been lots of times where I've regretted not buying unique woods and then coming back to see that they've been purchased by someone else. That's never good. But in terms of the book match, I just taped the two pieces together on the underside of the veneer here to kind of hold them together, and then drew the shape based on the template and cut it out as closely as possible to the line. Once that was done, I prepped the surface of the body's top and just got going on spreading lots of glue. I know they make special glue for veneering, but I've always found that standard Type Bond glue does a great job, and I've never had an issue with it. But if you've used veneer glues and find that that's better, definitely leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear about that. Probably the hardest part here was taping the veneer to the body initially to keep it from moving around. This did take a few tries, but eventually I got it in place with some basic masking tape. It's definitely a step that's easy to mess up, and the stakes are high when you're talking about some expensive veneer. Then after that, I set up the vacuum bag. And so I ordered this vacuum bag recently from a company called Roar Rocket. And I believe they primarily make these for skateboard decks. Overall, it worked great. I would highly recommend their product, especially for the price. It did take me a while, though, to get the bag fully sealed. And ended up needing to actually use a clamp to completely seal one corner. Also, I'm not totally certain if the netting needed to be spread out more on the body. I did have a few places right underneath the net where the joint wasn't quite as tight as the rest. That could have been user error, but that is something I'm going to watch out for the next time I do this. So fortunately, those spots were eventually routed away for the pickup cavity, so everything worked out okay. Alright, so that's it for this first video. Since my channel is brand new, I appreciate you taking a look at this video. I'm planning on making this a series from now until about the end of September. So I'm looking forward to taking you through this adventure, and it definitely was an adventure. So thank you for watching.